Explosions were heard in Kopeysk near Chelyabinsk last night as Ukrainian drones reportedly targeted the Plastmass military plant. Russian channels claim a drone strike hit the facility, which is involved in defense production. In the evening of October 22nd, an explosion occurred at the Plastmass plant in Kopeysk, a suburb of Chelyabinsk, which specializes in the production of artillery shells and explosives. The footage captures a powerful explosion on the plant's premises. After the incident, an air raid alert was declared in the region. It is reported that 6 people were killed and an unspecified number were injured. The plant is located about 1,800 kilometers from Ukraine's state border. According to the Defense Intelligence of Ukraine, the Plastmass plant specializes in the production, repair, and disposal of ammunition for field, naval, anti-aircraft, and tank artillery. The enterprise also manufactures 82mm and 120mm mortar rounds, as well as 100mm, 125mm, and 152mm high-explosive and shaped-charged shells for launchers, tank guns, and self-propelled howitzers, including the S-8 unguided rocket. The plant is part of the JSC NPK Techmash holding, which JSC Technodynamica, a subsidiary of the state corporation Rostec, manages. The Ukrainian Defense Forces released footage showing an enemy group crashing into its own destroyed equipment during a failed breakthrough attempt. According to the Butusov Plus Telegram channel, a unit of the Defense Forces that regularly fights off attacks on this section of the front line executed the operation. The incident took place in the Donetsk region. Ukrainian forces deployed a smoke screen, disorienting the attackers and causing them to get lost in their own swamp. In the ensuing chaos, a Russian armored vehicle collided with damaged equipment. Enemy infantry then came under targeted fire from the armed forces of Ukraine. The footage shows the invaders attempting to maneuver in the smoke, only to be struck by Ukrainian drones and machine gunners. The smoke, which was meant to cover the offensive, became the last curtain for the invaders, the source noted. Ukrainian military officials report that such self-inflicted incidents are becoming more frequent due to poor coordination and panic during combat. Previously, a Russian drone reportedly killed one of its own soldiers who attempted to surrender to Ukrainian forces. The U.S. Senate Foreign Relations Committee is set to advance 3 key bills aimed at ramping up pressure on Russia, Axios reports. The proposals include designating Russia a state sponsor of terrorism for abducting Ukrainian children, sanctioning China for supporting Russia's military industry, and transferring frozen Russian assets to Ukraine every 90 days. This is a story about Soviet titanium shovel. During the Cold War, titanium was heavily restricted, could only be sold as a finished good, not raw stock. So a clever, corrupt Soviet general figured out the cheapest finished product was shovel heads. They ran sheets of titanium through a metal press and sold them to the highest bidder. A cutout for the US DoD, of course, specifically the Air Force Material Requisition Office. The titanium was then processed into construction of the SR-71 Blackbird. The scheme was caught out. The general did the right thing, and the whole thing was hushed up until after the fall of the Soviet Union. A few years later, a few crates of unshipped shovel heads were found in storage and sold as historical novelties. Sweden is considering financing the purchase of more than 100 Gripen E fighter jets for Ukraine using frozen Russian assets. This was announced by Swedish Defense Minister Paul Johnson, according to The Guardian. According to him, the agreement is quite realistic, and the government is currently analyzing several possible options for its implementation. He added that the final decision will depend on the position of the European Union and the coordination of legal mechanisms. We are exploring the potential use of frozen Russian assets, Johnson said. The cost of one Gripen E fighter jet is approximately $85 million, so an order for 100 aircraft is estimated at $8.5 billion. These aircraft are highly effective in combat and designed for operation in difficult conditions, which makes them particularly valuable to the Ukrainian Air Force. The issue of using frozen Russian assets to support Ukraine has been discussed in the EU for a long time. In particular, Brussels is looking for a legal way to channel the proceeds from these assets into military and financial aid to Kyiv. According to reports, there is a chance that a decision on this issue will be made ahead of this week's EU summit. In total, Ukraine plans to purchase between 100 and 150 aircraft. Yesterday, Ukraine and Sweden signed a declaration of intent on cooperation in the defense sector. The JAS-39 Gripen E is the latest version of the Swedish multi-role fighter jet developed by Saab. It combines maneuverability, economy, and high efficiency in combat conditions. The model is equipped with a more powerful engine, which provides greater flight range, as well as an improved weapon control system. In addition, the aircraft has modern radar and advanced electronics, which increases its ability to detect and destroy targets. Russia has started to use a previously unknown type of drone with an unusual closed-wing design over Ukraine. Radio specialist Serhiy Flash reported on social media. A Ukrainian anti-aircraft drone detected the enemy UAV, and its purpose has not yet been determined. It can perform both reconnaissance and strike missions. The name, characteristics, and manufacturer of the device remain unknown. Later, information surfaced about a similar product, an FPV drone, essentially a quadcopter with a ring-shaped wing. In a closed-wing design, the ends of the consoles are connected top to top and bottom to bottom, with no classic wingtips. This reduces the intensity of the end vortex jets. Additional lift is provided by airflow passing through a closed circuit and directed downward, which is enhanced as the wing's angle of attack increases. Flow separation occurs when, as the angle of attack increases, the air ceases to flow smoothly over the upper surface of the wing and breaks away with the formation of vortices. In this case, the lift force drops sharply and the aircraft may lose control. Such an aircraft may indicate that the Russians are seeking alternative solutions to increase the effectiveness of strike drones by boosting their payload. An interesting and funny news for the end. Military exercises in Bavaria escalated into a shootout with the police due to a misunderstanding, resulting in 2 people being injured. The Munich-based media outlet Münchner Merkur reported on this. Military police near the Bavarian town of Erding were conducting martial power training maneuvers, which likely frightened local residents. A distinctive feature of these exercises is that they are not conducted on secure military training grounds, but deliberately in public to simulate combat operations as realistically as possible along an imaginary front line in a defensive situation. Instead, local residents reported suspicious individuals in camouflage uniforms with long-barreled weapons to the police. The military apparently mistook the police officers who arrived at the scene for participants in the exercises and opened fire on them with blank cartridges. In response, the police started firing live ammunition. The police did not disclose any further details, but noted that a large-scale operation involving a helicopter was conducted at the scene. A police representative assured that there was no threat to the population.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Rescues every day. We had a guy last week at 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.